In today's tutorial, I am going to teach you to solve the mystery of all of your lost passwords with an old mystery that we've turned into a password book. To begin this project, you're going to need to take a craft knife and separate your book from the spine. You can see, if you look at the end of any old book, that the spine of the pages is actually not attached to the spine of the book. And you want to take your book and work with it just a little bit so you have some space to cut the cover off. Mine has kind of a tape binding holding it together. So I'm just going to work with that a little bit until it's in a position that I can work with it in. And then I'm going to take my craft knife and just very carefully cut through the tape that holds the book pages onto the spine. This comes apart and leaves you an open space right in the center of the book. So you just want to either flip it over if you have enough room on this side to cut, or you can work from the spine side. I like to work from the back of the book. Now this one doesn't have as much space in the back, so I just want to kind of cut carefully along the spine. You just want to make sure you don't cut through the spine of the book. Now make sure that when you're working with a craft knife or any sharp object that you follow all the safety instructions that came with it. We don't want you to have an accident, become a crafting statistic. On this back part of the spine, I just had to go over this one a few more times in the same place. Each old book is going to be a little bit different. And the better the binding on your book, the harder the book will be to take apart. But now you can see that I have what's left of the pages in the inside of the book. And of course, there are a million uses for these pages in paper crafting projects. So I always hang on to these. Now you can see that the inside of the spine on this book has some dust from the pages. And you'll just want to lightly brush that out and make sure that you have a clean surface to adhere your journal pages to. Now the refill that I'm using, the brand I'm using is 4A. I just got this at an office supply store, and it says fits refillable 5.5 by 8-inch journals. And it is bound on the spine with adhesive. And it also has a cover before the pages start, which is very important, and you'll see why. Now, when you choose a journal refill and a book, you want to make sure that they're approximately the same size. This journal refill fits exactly into the spine of my book, and it also fits into the cover of the book so that the pages don't extend beyond the cover of the book when I'm finished. The password book that I showed you that was finished, I had to have the pages cut down, and your office supply store will be able to cut off the edge for you if you choose a smaller book. But you can see how this construction of this will be simple. We're going to take the covers of the journal and we're going to use them to bind the pages to our book, just as you would in traditional book binding. And this process is very simple. We're going to use regular white craft glue and a sponge to prepare the cover of the book for the journal refill. And you can use any glue that will bind paper to paper. I just used the trusty old Elmer's glue. And what you want to do is just get a good covering of this glue all over your book. Make sure that you get a lot of glue in the spine. And that you cover each of the covers very, very well. You don't want there to be gaps of glue coverage on your project. Then you want to take a sponge, one that you do not intend to use for ink, and you just want to smooth out the layer of glue all over the book. And if you need to add more glue during this stage, you can. The idea with smoothing it out is you don't want a big bubble to form. You want to make sure that you don't have any little bumps when you go to put paper to paper. Now you want to take your journal refill and you want to center it in the spine of your book. And the important thing here is just making sure that there's the right amount of space at the top and at the bottom of the spine of the book so that it's not lopsided. Then you'll want to flatten the covers of the journal until they touch the glued surface of your book. Press them down. You can use a bone folder. I just use my hand because I can feel if there are any little gaps. And then do the same with the front cover. Now pull your book cover up so that it's even with the journal pages and give it a good squeeze to make sure that it's pressed flat. And then do the same, closing the book. Do the same with the front cover and just press it down. Now what I do after I've done this step is I like to take another stack of books, or you can take anything heavy, a frying pan, and you can press down the book until the glue is dry. When you're finished letting your glue dry and you open up your book, you will see that the journal cover is securely attached to the spine of your book. And what's nice about these little journal refills is they have page markers and ruled pages so that you can store each of the websites that you need a password for in a very old school style inside a book. I took the alphabet and I stamped every few pages with the same letter so that you would have room for all those 8 squillion passwords that you have on the internet. Or you could just leave them blank and you could write the websites and passwords down as you join those websites. But when you stick this book on the shelf, it just looks like a mystery.